Empaths tend to feel drained, overwhelmed, or burned the F out. So, today on this podcast, I'm approaching a more logical way for how empaths can turn overwhelm into balance in their lives. So, listen in. Welcome to Spiritual and Ambitious. I'm your host, Whitney McNeill. I'm a certified medium and spiritual teacher, and I help spiritual and ambitious souls just like you live your life purpose through your career and attract abundance by connecting into your intuition and spirit guides. Let's get spiritual and ambitious. Before we get started today, if you are loving this podcast, I'd love to see a 5-star review come in. And we have a podcast review giveaway. So all you have to do is wherever you are listening, go ahead and drop in a 5-star review. And you can go over to messengerofspirit.com/podcast review to learn more. So why do empaths feel more overwhelmed than other people with different intuitive languages? Because empaths' natural state are really not many boundaries. We don't really have many when we are naturally empathic. We learn them, and that's usually one of the big life lessons for empaths. So if you can think about your energy as water, if there's no container, your energy is just going to flow and go to the next place it can fill. That's oftentimes why empaths attract people who need fixing or help, and empaths tend to get into that rescuer vibe. Basically, your energy is like, hey, I got all this energy, and this other person doesn't. Let me just fill them up. Well, why is that bad? It's bad because you're giving them all your energy and they're taking your energy. And when are you going to recharge? So it's really important for you to look at it from that perspective too. So if you're overwhelmed, there's usually two reasons why. One, you are drained, and that can be from other people. So, negative people, needy people, people that you can't say no to, or you're doing too much. You're just literally have a million tasks and you're not stopping to do what you need to do, which is recharge your energy and reset. So, if your issue is around people, well, I'm going to tell you, you need to have better boundaries. When you implement better boundaries, you're providing a container for your energy. So it's not just flowing to someone who has a deficit of energy. So it is your energy just for you, not for other people. And you are going to have to learn how to say no and to set boundaries. I actually have a podcast episode about boundaries and more about empaths from an energy level, and I will link to them in the show notes. But today I really want to focus more on when you're doing too much. So if your issue is about people, I've got some energy practices for you in some other episodes, but I will say to you, you got to learn how to set boundaries and say no. And when you do say no, it's going to feel icky. It's going to feel kind of like, oh my gosh, I feel guilty because I said no, or I'm not helping this person. And you have to learn that you are giving energy from a full cup versus dirty bathwater. If you're just helping people to help people and you're drained, you're basically giving them dirty bathwater, but also you're not having enough energy for yourself to maintain. So even if that's your trigger, I still want you to listen to this episode because we're going to be talking about what happens when you're just doing too much. And usually, whether it's a person that's kind of causing some issues or you're doing too much, it's usually blended in together. So empaths tend to take on too much energetically. And that also means saying yes to a lot of different tasks and a lot of different things, helping people out. Or maybe you just have a long to-do list and you are ambitious and you want to feel productive. But your tasks on your to-do list might not match the energy that you have stored. And with that, let's say you've got 10 tasks on your to-do list. Well, 3 of those tasks might take so much energy that you're depleted from that day. And you're wondering why you couldn't get all 10 checked off. It's because some tasks require more energy than others. So it's really about looking at your task list or what you are doing in the day and saying, does this equal the amount of energy? Sometimes I get 3 things done a day, and sometimes I get 12 things done a day. And when I get those 3 things done a day, I might not feel super productive. But when I look at how much energy I had to expend for it, you go, oh, that was really productive. Now, most of the time, I want you to be doing 80 to 90% of things in your day that you absolutely love. And there's 10 to 20% of things that, you just have to do. That could be cleaning your house or hiring somebody to clean your house, or it could be paying bills. You can also bring gratitude into paying bills, but you know where I'm going with this. But we are on this earth plane and we have to do things to live. So, with that being said, let's look at how you could structure your day so that you are not feeling so overwhelmed. The first thing that I want you to realize is that your task list, all the things that you have, I want you to start checking things off, or actually not checking them off, but putting a line through them. If you absolutely don't have to, if it drains so much of your energy, and if it's something that you don't love doing. Now, if it's something that you absolutely have to do, then I would say, can you ask for help on this? Can somebody else in the family do this? Somebody else at work do this? Can you hire support to do this? So if you hate cleaning your house, can I hire somebody to clean my house? If you aren't great at organizing, can I hire somebody to organize? Or you could even ask somebody in your family member, hey, you're good at organizing. Can you organize my closet? What can you stop doing? That's one thing. And let's say you don't have enough time to cook your food every day and it's really causing a drain on you. Well, look at ordering some meals. That could be something that you could do. Or you could do like a prep on a Sunday. So that's kind of more the logical aspect of it. But I also want you to get really comfortable, no matter what your task list looks like now. I want you to get really comfortable with the concept that it's not always going to happen on your timeline. And if you start operating from your energy instead of your mental body of, I have to do, I have to do, I have to do, then you need to get really comfortable with it's not going to happen on my timeline. It will happen on spirit's timeline. It will happen on my energy timeline. Sometimes we have projects and things, at least in my business, there's several projects that I really want to do, but it keeps getting pushed off or reprioritized. And that's because other things are coming in front of it that I need to do. And one of those things is rest. So we need to talk about rest versus doing things. So in your business, for an example, you could think, if I complete this project, I'm going to get more income because it's a service or a product or whatever it is that's going to generate more income into my business. But I'm so freaking tired and I can't implement it. Well, if you're creating that service, program, product, offer, whatever it is, and you're doing it out of a really grumpy, tired, yucky energy place, it's gonna show up energetically as bleh. So it's better not to do it at all in the moment if you're gonna do it from a place where you're tired and grumpy and have a headache or whatever. You might be really excited about your offer, but if you are needing to rest and you don't allow yourself to rest, it is not going to manifest the way that you want it to because you're not putting good juju into it. I also really want to talk about rest and tasks. How do you know when to rest? And how do you know when to have your tasks and to do it? And I get this question a lot from my members inside Aligned Spiritual Mentorship. They're like, how do I balance my life? Well, let's talk about it when we come back after this really quick break. As a professional psychic medium, I've done tens of thousands of readings, but I felt a call to move more fully into teaching intuition. But I still get so many requests about doing readings. So while I don't do readings anymore, I have brought in some very trusted colleagues who are now available for live 1 hour readings on Zoom. If you would like to book your psychic medium reading, go to messengerofspirit.com/appointments to see our available readers and schedule your Zoom reading today. Thanks for hanging in there. Today, we're talking about turning overwhelm into balance, especially for empaths. So, let's talk about this concept of rest. We forget that resting, going on vacation, just sitting in bed, watching TV, we forget that that can be very profitable. You might be wondering, what are you even talking about? Sometimes we equate profit or productivity with action. I have to be creating an offer, or I have to go do all these things to feel worthy. When in fact, if we can get with the concept of the more I rest, the more I receive, the more I rest, the more I receive, and understand that as we're resting, we are recharging our energy so that when we do take those actionable items, we are in a better place, even if it's picking up your dry cleaning. When you're going to pick it up, you are saying, "Hi, everybody," versus, "Hey, I'm so tired." So you can see where I'm going here. That's going to be really important. Also, resting and relaxing is easier when you've already gotten with the program of it's not going to happen on my timeline. It's going to happen on my energy timeline. You have a certain amount of energy in the day, and remembering that you can't accomplish all the tasks that you have in the day every day. It's just not going to happen. So, reminder, different tasks take up different amounts of energy. Here's an easy one, going to the grocery store. Where we live, a little bit outside of Sedona, we have to drive about 45 minutes to an hour to the grocery store. And then you have to shop at the grocery store and then drive back. That was a huge time suck and energy drain. So, what do we do now? We Instacart it. And that has been so helpful for my energy. Now, I still get frustrated with having to create the list and dealing with items that aren't there, but I will ask my husband to help with that if needed. Now, if you're someone that doesn't have anybody else in your family, look at the gratitude of how you are saving your time and saving your energy. Like I said, you want to go with the 80-20 and eventually the 90 and the 10. When you rest, you also are in a place to receive intuitive messages. So, when you're in a place to receive intuitive messages, it's a lot easier to feel inspired and creative. Resting is really helpful, especially when we feel very stuck and we're coming up against a brick wall and we're like, why can't I get an answer for this? Or I'm stuck creatively. If you've ever had writer's block or you just feel kind of eh, well, resting is a great remedy for that. When you allow yourself to rest, your spirit guides can give you messages more clearly because your mind is not blocking them. Every day, your mind is thinking, 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 and you have to clear it in order to receive messages accurately from your guides and your spiritual team. That's why I teach my students how to clear their mind in 5 seconds. But if you have all these things on your to do list, it's really hard to get the accurate message at that moment. So you've got to allow yourself to just be. When you rest and you open your intuition, you also open for more abundance to flow in. Your spirit guides are always working in your favor to bring you aligned people, the right opportunities, and those kind of things. And when you are in that intuitive place, you will receive messages for actionable steps that will lead to more abundance. But also, your energy when it rests is being very nurturing to yourself, being very nurturing to your energy. Thus, you are in a better place to receive. If you're not receiving, you're basically blocking abundance because you are overwhelmed and you're tired and you're burned the F out. So you're like, I can't take on any more. No, thank you. And the universe is like, here's $1 million. And you're like, no, I can't even. I can't because I'm so tired. So let's say the universe is bringing you $1 million idea and you are so busy that you couldn't even receive that idea, or you're so burned out that you got it and you're like, yeah, but I don't have an energy to actually implement it. Well, then you're missing the $1 million. So you get my point, right? Every day, one of the best things I do is I talk to my spirit guide. So if you haven't taken my spirit guide masterclass, you definitely want to. And I say to my guides, what are the top 3 priorities I need to get done today? I will also sometimes break it down into personal life and business. So I really just kind of feel what it is. Today I'm recording this podcast episode, but I also have some other personal tasks that I need to get done. I ask my guides, what are the most important things that I need to get done today? And they will arrange it. My mind and my ego do not always agree with what they have told me. I'm like, but I have to do this. They're like, yeah, well, that's not going to happen right now. So allow yourself to rest. Sometimes they'll literally say, just rest. That's it. And when you get those top three priorities, those things are on your list. When you have them, it makes your task list so much easier. So you can use a calendar online and switch around some of these events to help you plan your day. I use a project management software. You can do that. And I'll put in my tasks for the day. And I'll even put in my tasks for the week. And then when I tune in every day, I'll say, what are my three priorities? And guess what? Stuff gets shifted around. So all the stuff I'd put in for the week gets shifted. I actually had this podcast episode to record 2 days ago, but 2 days ago, my guides told me to rest. So I did. And now I'm recording it today. So you can shift around your week and see what your energy needs in the moment. So once you have your top three things, you'll also save so much time. Let's say you have to call the doctor's office, which by the way, I did the other day and I just wanted it checked off my list, but it wasn't one of the top three things my guide said to do. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm teaching you this, but sometimes it just happens over here. I'm not perfect. I I don't think you'll believe this. Seriously. I was in the appointment queue and they said, you are the 89th person. Well, I immediately hung up. So I asked my guides and they said, yeah, you're not supposed to call until tomorrow morning. I called the next morning, immediately get in, no queue. So that's an example of how you can save time when you listen to your guides. And this is a great learning example for you and telling you my story. Now that you have your top three things, I want you to pay attention to your energy. And how does your energy feel during that day? When you are listening to your energy, you will have probably more things on your to-do list that you want to do, but does your energy have it? So, for instance, the other day I completed my top three things, and then I thought, oh, I have some energy. I can do some of these other things. I went to go do them, and it was like, no, you do not have the energy. You have depleted all your energy for any creativity, so stop doing it. So, you have to listen to your energy and stop when you feel to stop. Now, if you're in a place where you are like, Whitney, I'm working for somebody else still, I haven't created my own business, what do I do? Organize your tasks the best that you can so that it matches your energy. So for me, when I write emails to you, when I create podcasts, when I create videos, I do them in the morning. That's when I have my best creative energy. And then after lunch, it's like, those are more of the tasks that are trivial, things I can check off my list really quickly and kind of go down from there. So you can prioritize in your day that way. If you do own your own business, you can hear that. But also, I will a lot of times prioritize my week based on those tasks too. So for me, Mondays are more of the prep work, the smaller tasks, things coming up for the week. Tuesdays are more the vibrant tasks. Wednesday, I need a break. I don't want to have any meetings on Wednesdays. Thursdays, I pick back up, and Fridays are more of a chill day. So just really pay attention because we can't all stick to schedules like that. So, for instance, at the time I'm recording, getting ready to leave for 2 weeks, well, I'm probably going to be working on the weekend because I'm leaving for 2 weeks. I'll have to listen to my energy. I'm saying to my guides, I need to get XYZ done before I leave. Please help me to plan based off of my energy. So again, every day, even though I think Mondays are these tasks, Tuesdays are these tasks, because I'm familiar with my energy, it doesn't always work like that. So I always say, hey, all right, what are my top three things that I need to get done today? If you enjoyed this podcast, I would love it if you would give me a 5-star review, and you can review wherever you're listening. You can also go to messengerspirit.com/podcast review to learn more. And I will be back next week with a brand new episode. But until then, here's to staying spiritual and ambitious. Thanks so much for listening to this episode. And if you loved it, would you please share it with a friend? I would also love your review and a reminder to subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can find me at messengerofspirit.com, and you can take the 4 Intuitive Languages quiz and find show notes there too. If you want to connect on YouTube, Facebook, or Instagram, you can find me at Messenger of Spirit. I'll meet you right here next week. Here's to staying spiritual and ambitious.
This podcast is part of the Sound Advice FM network. Sound Advice FM. Women's voices amplified.